We finally have the latest and greatest smartwatch from Samsung. It's called the Samsung Galaxy Watch 3. This watch was announced at the same time as the Galaxy Note 20 and the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to review for you guys my experience of using the Bluetooth and the LTE model of this watch. But not only that, at its base form, it starts at about $400. That's the 41mm with Bluetooth. And at its best form, $480. And that's going to be for the 45mm with LTE. After taxes, it's about $530. Let's talk about, do we actually get our money's worth when we pay $530 specifically for this one, the Bluetooth 45mm version of the Samsung Galaxy Watch 3. This is TK. Let's check it out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. The watch is pretty simple, pretty much Watch 3. Again, there's two models, the 41 and the 45. In the box, you'll get the watch itself with a premium leather strap that is already included and already put on. But again, this is a 22mm one, pretty standard. You can change it. This says premium leather on it. I personally like it, although I don't think this is going to be one of the best options, especially since I want to be able to use this in the water or wash my hands. Leather doesn't typically do well in water. Short answer is I swapped it for my Huawei Watch GT. Works great and it fits perfectly on it. Again, very easy, very simple. There's two different colors on it when it comes to the 45mm with, again, the option that I have with LTE. There's the Bluetooth and LTE, and the difference between them is about 40 to 50 bucks. But again, this version of the watch costs $530 after taxes in the US. Now, they include a wireless charger that's similar to the one that we saw before with the Galaxy Active 2, and that's pretty much it. All you're getting other than that essentially is the watch. You do need to pair it either to an Android or an iOS device, and we'll talk a little bit more. Again, the version that I have here is the 45mm with LTE. It's a 1.4-inch display. It's an AMOLED display. The battery that we have here is 340 milliamperes. And this actually should be able to last us up to 2.5 days on Bluetooth. And that actually is a pretty good statement. On Bluetooth, without an always-on display, it works perfectly that long, and it actually does last me that long. One thing also, it has 1 gig of RAM with 8 gigs of internal storage for content transfer. We have obviously the sensors at the bottom of the speaker as well as a microphone connection there. Two buttons, a back and a home button that's present right there, and of course a spinning crown here for notifications, spinning options, all the things that we love about a Galaxy Watch. NFC payment is in here, no MST, as this supports Samsung Pay but does not support the MST technology. That one's still reserved primarily to smartphones from Samsung. Unfortunately, smartwatches are not getting that feature back. Now, the smaller version of this has a 1.2-inch display as opposed to the 1.4 that we have here. It also has a 247 milliampere battery. The internal storage and the RAM stays pretty much the same, 1 gig to basically about 8 gigs as far as storage, and again, about basically 2.5 days on Bluetooth. It does change a little bit when you start turning on the always-on display as well as LTE, as that actually dramatically brings it down to pretty much having to charge this every day, meaning you turn it on in the morning and at night you have to actually put it on a charger. Charging time is actually not necessarily the fastest, about almost 2 hours from 0 to 100% if you actually kill the battery. But if you top it off every once in a while, that should be a little bit better as far as the overall experience. To use the actual watch, you do need to pair it to the actual device and use an application from Samsung called the Samsung Wear app. There's no way to go around this. It'll work for both Android or iOS. You can see here pretty much the watch face that I have, the battery that I have, and how much battery life I have left. Again, connected via Bluetooth is what it says right now. And just to kind of show you guys what it actually will do, let's go ahead and disconnect the Bluetooth and we'll keep going from there. We have the ability of customizing a whole bunch of different options, and we will go back and take a quick look on those. Notification applications, widgets to be able to customize them on the actual watch, so I can actually swipe from one side to the other. Those are widgets and they're sitting there and we can customize them in here. Sound and vibration, display brightness, advanced, as well as add here. We'll go in there. So add content to the watch. You can transfer music and we'll get a chance to check that out as well. SOS, Find My Watch, and of course Find My Watch will work connected via Bluetooth or any other connection. So right now you'll notice I'm actually connected via, let's go ahead and bring it down. It is Bluetooth, but we can actually see it right there. Let's go and bring it up. And it went ahead and connected via LTE over on my T-Mobile connection. You can see right there, standalone T-Mobile, 4G LTE, voice over LTE, as well as the battery level and the Bluetooth connection. So at this point, my watch will connect automatically over the internet, and I'll give it a few more seconds to actually show up here on my phone. And we'll actually get a remote connection at this point. So right there, 52%, same battery life, remotely connected to the watch. This will be pretty much the same if I connect it over Wi-Fi, as this actually does support Wi-Fi connection, and it is present right there. I just don't have it turned on right now. Notifications can still be configured. Not all the options are obviously available since we're not connected via Bluetooth. But again, SOS, Find My Watch, and of course tips and about watch. And you're able to basically go into the watch faces to download any additional watch faces that you'd like, save them directly to the phone, and pair them over whenever you're connected back over Bluetooth. This is great if you want to go out for a run, you want to be able to be disconnected from the phone, or you're, let's say, on the other side of the house and you lost your Bluetooth connection, but you still want to be able to get your notifications as well as your text messages directly from your phone. And they both work the exact way as you'd imagine. As long as you're connected and it does show up in the app this way, your notifications will get pushed. And for messages, I do want to mention that it will only work if you're using the Messages app by Samsung. If you use the Google Messages or any third-party messaging application, unfortunately, it's not currently supported. So that's something to keep in mind. And then when you're ready to connect it back, or let's say you do get in within range of the actual phone, I'll go ahead and turn on the Bluetooth connectivity. I'll give it a second to connect. And what's going to happen essentially is that the same connection, it'll lose the LTE model, and the watch itself will connect. Let's go ahead and give it a second. You see there, Wi-Fi is off, LTE is off, and then it's going to connect via Bluetooth. And then now we're connected via Bluetooth. And then all the functionalities work the same. So from a set of functions of what we're getting here, again, configuration of all the widgets, the order of the widgets, all the applications. And one thing I didn't mention to you guys in the previous video is that you're able to actually configure your app drawer into be a different format. So right now it's more of a carousel. I can actually change that to be a list view. Give it a second here. You'll notice right there, it's more of a list view. Personally, I like the carousel or the rotary version of it as it's easier to actually go through and you can see a lot more applications. You can reorganize them, add different things, open last app, whole bunch of things. Display configuration, auto brightness, screen timeouts, obviously all the cool things. Adding content to the watch is pretty simple. I can go in here, I can either add content like music or copy information. So I'll go ahead and say contact, or actually we'll add some music in here. Let's go ahead and scroll down and here. So we'll add my song here from Ben Sound. And that one's actually pretty quick, and Happy Hardcore is one of my basically kind of podcasts that I've done. I'll go ahead and say done, and basically replace the tracks, yes, and I'll say yes one more time. And this is mostly just to show you guys how I'm doing it. I've already transferred this content before, and this is why it's there. And it's going to go ahead and transfer the content over Bluetooth to my watch, not over the internet. So the content was transferred, so here's one of two. Happy Hardcore will take a little bit longer as this is a much bigger file, where Ben Sound was literally about just 3 megabytes. But as you can see, it's progressing very nicely. And then once we have our data connected, we're able to swipe over to the music player, switch it over to device. So when you look at the watch, it actually is connected there. I'll say open up the app. I'll swipe up from the top. So right there you can see there's 3 tracks. Let's go ahead into the playlist. So favorite tracks, nothing. Most played, obviously there's recently played tracks, recently added. We'll go to 3. Happy Hardcore is right there, and then here's the Ben Sound. Now Ben Sound is a copyright-free song, so let's go ahead and play that one. And of course, you can set it as far as the setting up the volume in there, changing tracks, all the different options. If I want to switch over to the watch, now this time becomes actually connecting directly into my music player here. You'll notice the wallpaper changes with it. I'm able to actually scroll through, see the other songs on the playlist, all the ones that are present in here. Again, it'll work directly with any basically music application that you're using. So I've used it with Tidal, use it with YouTube Music, I've used it with Podcast, and of course Pocket Cast. All the applications are supported. You just need to make sure to select the watch or the phone so that you know exactly what it's playing. The nice thing about the watch itself is that it actually has its own Bluetooth connectivity, which means if I'm going for a run, I can pair my Galaxy Buds Live or any actually pair of Bluetooth headphones directly to it, and I can use it to actually stream Spotify music or even just basically listen to my local library. 4 gigs out of the 8 gigs is available for us to add content to it, so we can add pictures and music as much as we'd like. As long as we don't fill up the 4 gigs, we should be pretty good. We have access to this nice little action here, which gives us the ability of actually scrolling around, and it works really good, especially in the application drawer, where I'm able to actually scroll through all of the different apps. Of course, keep in mind I can actually swipe just between the pages, but again, really, really nice. On the top, if I press it once, it doesn't much, and if I press and hold, it'll open up Samsung Pay, and you have to set it up. If you have it set up, it'll work perfectly fine. On the bottom, I have it configured to do a double press to turn on the music application for me right now. And if I press and hold, it'll launch the Bixby Assistant, which is the only assistant that we have built into this watch. So you cannot use anything else, like either the Google Assistant, Amazon Assistant, nothing. Pretty much Bixby, and it is Bixby all the way. On the smartphone, on the Galaxy S20 Ultra, at least we have the ability of customizing it, where I'm able to launch the Assistant differently. But here, we're pretty much stuck to what it was. If you like to use the Google Assistant, it sounds like Android Wear is pretty much the only option we have right now. I've already pre-configured the Messages app directly on my phone, so then pretty much all I have to do now is basically send and receive text messages. Now, this connection sometimes works and doesn't work. There's sometimes a big delay in there. So what I'm going to go ahead and see, basically just send a response back. So I'll go ahead and say, yes, please. And I can select it from those pre-typed ones, and it'll say next. You can see right there, it sends it back right away. Connection works really good, so I'm able to send messages directly to my friends, respond back, and again, notifications will be able to push through. Your mileage may vary, but again, keep in mind that using it on LTE will definitely consume battery a lot more. The other option that we have the ability of using here is the Samsung Health application. Now, they did get a chance to turn on some of those new features that we talked about in the video last time, which is the oxygen blood level, stress level, all of those little measurement that they talked about. It does measure basically sleep, and you can see here that's tracking my sleep last night. It does pretty much show that I was awake. I don't know what was going on, but I was kind of a little bit stressed. Under steps, of course, you can actually see the trend, and then you can just scroll back through time, and you can see basically the different days and then different options of where you were doing your best walking or running. And again, all the new things that we have in here are there. Now, again, none of these things are technically brand new. The ability of connecting over the internet to LTE on the watch here works pretty much the same. You can see here's the notifications that we got before. I'll give it a second. It's connected via Bluetooth. Swiping on the right, we have access to the different steps. Here's the heart rate. I'll give it a second to measure, since technically it'll go ahead and do it anywhere as long as you're being steady. So I'll give it a second. Okay, 74 is the level I'm getting here. I'll go back one more time. Again, calories burned and options that we have there. Music player. Let's go ahead and do the stress level. This is one of the new options we can actually get. And you can pretty much get the measurement done here. Of course, one of the other options is the blood oxygen level. Of course, we get those options there. Now, the Samsung Wear application is pretty much where we get all of the watch faces, different customizations, different options, even customizing the existing watch face that I have, from the color to the complication 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. All of those are available directly in here. You can also go into the Discovery tab to be able to check other applications and other options that you're able to download for the watch. There's a lot of options, and Samsung's been making smartwatches for a very long time. And definitely this shows all of the things that we've done in the past, or all of the things they've done in the past, to give us the best experience they can in 2020. It goes without saying that the Samsung Galaxy Watch 3 has all of the features that you would look for from a smartwatch in 2020. We're talking GPS, we're talking about LTE. The model that I showed you today is the stainless steel model, 45mm, again with LTE, retailing for $479.99. 8 gigs of internal storage, 1 gig of RAM. Again, about 347 basically as far as the battery on the bigger version, 247 on the smaller one, rated to be about 2.5 days, and it does actually perform that way when you're using it with Bluetooth and without the always-on display. With the always-on display, pretty much dropped about a day's worth of usage. The same thing with the LTE. It's not really meant to be on LTE all the time. This is meant to be a companion to your watch, to your smartphone. So the intention here essentially is to have the LTE connectivity bridge the connection over where Bluetooth is not functional. So if you go for a run, you're using GPS, you're tracking your sport and all of that stuff, everything works great. The only limitation I would say, it's not as fast as when you're using it on your smartphone, but because you're away from your smartphone, it shouldn't really be an issue, and you won't even notice the delay that I was kind of showing you guys in the video. Now, as far as the actual material, we have Gorilla Glass on the front. As far as the covering on the front, we have IP68, basically mil-spec 810G for obviously shock resistance as well as water resistance. So you'll be able to swim with it, track almost any kind of activity. It has drop protection, which means if you fell and you basically hit the floor, it has an automatic option to send either text messages or phone calls to your loved one. Pretty much the way we've seen it on the Apple Watch from before. So there's a lot of things in there. But again, the question ends up being, at the end of the day, is it worth $530 in the US? Again, keep in mind, in the US, we don't actually have the tax built into the price. So $479.99, that's $480. There's still tax on top of that, which brings it up to the $530. For me, I look at it as I needed to have LTE connectivity between my phone and my watch. And that's something that I got used to over time. So that was something that I needed to pay a little bit more for. I'm also using the trade-in feature, or the trade-in option that is available through Samsung, which does bring the price down a little bit. I'm actually trading in my Gear S3 Frontier and for about $100 discount. So in reality of the matter is, it actually still is an expensive watch, but it fits to what I need. So the connectivity over LTE, Bluetooth, as well as Wi-Fi is something that I look for in a smartwatch. The ability of actually having more of a, basically a consistent connection between my phone and my watch. Not to say anything against Wear OS, but Wear OS is known for having issues for connectivity, random disconnects, not knowing what's going on. Where I find that Samsung with Tizen doesn't seem to have that problem, regardless of what phone I'm using it, either be it Android or iOS. So For those reasons alone, with the trade-in at about $430 worth as far as total final price for me, I found that the LTE model with 45 millimeter as well as the stainless steel in black definitely looks and it does exactly what I need it for, for what I'm looking for in a smartwatch. Does that make sense to you? I'd probably say is check that video that I did for you guys not that long ago to see the other options that are available. The Galaxy Watch is still a very capable watch, still available to purchase for about 200 and something. The Active 2 also has some options in there if you don't want to have that mechanical spinning top. But at the end of the day, what you're getting essentially is the set of features. This watch includes everything under the sun, including obviously blood oxygen level, as well as stress, heart rate, and of course, last but not least, the detection, the drop detection that I'm looking for in case something happens. Last but not least, one of the additional features that will be coming in is a better integration with basically the function of using activities using Samsung Health, and that initiates those activities directly onto the watch while you're watching it on the TV using a DeX-like experience. So again, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the Galaxy Watch 3? Is this something that you would consider? Even at its base model, if you get in with the trade-in, you can actually get it as low as $299.99. So the base 41 Bluetooth with the $100 off, and you're able to actually trade in some of your older watches, which is really nice. Rarely ever do we actually get the option to upgrade from an older watch by trading in our old tech, as opposed to just throwing it away or trying to find a buyer somewhere. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and of course, as usual, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.